They told you to stay small. They built cages around your dreams and called them reality checks. They whispered impossible when God was shouting chosen over your life. But look at you now. The control systems are failing. The chains are breaking. The limitations that once defined your existence are shattering like glass around your feet as you rise. They never saw this coming. You're awakening. You're breaking free. Your magnificent rebellion against everything that was designed to keep you bound. If you're nodding right now, if something in your spirit is catching fire, hit that subscribe button. This channel exists for warriors like you, the ones breaking free, the ones hungry for truth that transforms. Subscribe now and join our tribe of chosen ones walking in divine purpose. God is exposing the truth before your eyes. What you're experiencing isn't random frustration or coincidental growth. It's divine liberation. The Almighty is tearing down every barrier that stands between you and your destiny. You feel it, don't you? That burning in your spirit, that knowing that you were made for more, that refusal to shrink back into old patterns that never fit your true identity. Right now, heaven is celebrating your courage. Angels are rejoicing as you step into freedom. The enemy trembles as you discover who you truly are. This message isn't for everyone. It's for the chosen ones, those marked from birth for purpose beyond comprehension, those who suffered in silence while carrying greatness within. Your opposition wasn't random. Your struggles weren't meaningless. Every attack was confirmation of the power you carry. Lean in. Your liberation isn't just coming. It's here. Let me tell you what's actually happening in your life right now. You're experiencing a divine awakening that was ordained before time began. The Father knew exactly when you would break free, when the scales would fall from your eyes, when you would finally see the truth about who you really are. For years, perhaps decades, you were held captive by an intricate system of control. Not just worldly systems, but spiritual constraints designed with one purpose: to prevent you from walking in the fullness of your calling. The enemy understood your potential long before you did. He saw your destiny and crafted custom-made prisons to contain you. But God's timing is perfect. You were predestined to be molded into the image of Christ. You were selected, chosen, and set apart for an assignment that no one else can fulfill. And no control system, regardless of how deeply embedded, how generationally reinforced, how psychologically sophisticated, can override the Father's divine purpose for your life. What's happening now is sacred. The awakening process often feels disorienting because everything you once accepted as normal suddenly reveals itself as manipulation. The guilt trips that once drove your decisions now fall flat. The shame that once silenced your voice now sound hollow. The fear that once paralyzed your steps now fades into background noise. Why? Because you've grown. You've evolved spiritually. You've encountered the raw, untamed power of God's presence. And there's absolutely no going back to the cage. This awakening isn't gentle. It's violent against the darkness. It's an uprising of truth in your spirit. Your DNA is remembering who you were created to be. Your spiritual eyes are opening to possibilities that were always there but hidden from your consciousness. Take a moment right now. Place your hand on your heart. Feel that beating? That's the rhythm of freedom. That's the pulse of purpose. That's the heartbeat of a chosen one awakening to their true identity. Let's expose the specific systems that once contained you. Recognizing your former prison makes your current freedom that much sweeter. The system of people-pleasing kept you dancing to everyone else's tune. You measured your worth by others' approval, reshaping your identity to fit expectations. You silenced your God-given voice to amplify others. But now, you understand that pleasing the Father is the only approval that matters. When you please Him, you fulfill your purpose, even when it disappoints others. The system of limited thinking capped your vision. Be realistic, they said. Lower your expectations, they warned. That's impossible, they declared, as if they had the final say over what God could do through you. These mental constraints weren't random. They were calculated to keep you functioning below your capacity. But now, your mind is expanding to contain heavenly possibilities. The very things they said couldn't happen are unfolding before your eyes. The system of religious performance trapped you in empty rituals without relationship. You check spiritual boxes while your soul starves for authentic connection. You memorize prayers without experiencing their power. You learn about God without encountering Him. This counterfeit spirituality was perhaps the most effective control mechanism because it masqueraded as righteousness while actually restricting your access to true power. But now, you're tasting real relationship. You're experiencing living water. You're walking in authority rather than just talking about it. The system of generational limitations bound you to your family ceiling. This is just how we are, they said. Nobody in our family has ever became the unspoken boundary of your potential. Dysfunction passed off as destiny. Trauma mistaken for inheritance. But now, you become the pattern breaker, the cycle interrupter, the ceiling shatterer. You're rewriting the narrative for generations to come. The system of false identity assigned you labels that were never yours to carry. Too much, not enough, broken beyond repair. These identities were manufactured by the enemy and distributed through the voices of those around you, sometimes even those who claim to love you. But now, you're reclaiming your true name. You're discovering what God calls you. You're answering to heaven's designation, not earth's limitations. If you're seeing these systems clearly for the first time, type "awaken" in the comments. Let's create a wave of recognition that inspires others to break free too. Now, here's what you need to understand. The enemy is furious that you've outgrown his control systems. When you begin to awaken, when you start to break free, you become an active threat to the kingdom of darkness. We don't battle against flesh and blood. Your fight isn't primarily against people. It's against dark powers that have invested heavily in keeping you contained. These forces operated unchallenged for years, comfortably manipulating your life from the shadows. Your awakening sounds alarms in the spiritual realm. That's why the attacks intensify precisely when you begin to walk in freedom. That's why opposition mounts the moment you declare your true identity. That's why relationships suddenly strain when you refuse to play your assigned role. That's why unexpected obstacles appear just as you step toward your destiny. But listen carefully. Their attacks are proof of your progress. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on those who pose no threat. He doesn't mobilize forces against those who are still sleeping. He attacks those who are awaking to their power and purpose. You're being attacked because you're dangerous now. Dangerous to mediocrity. Dangerous to spiritual oppression. Dangerous to every lie that's held your family, community, and sphere of influence captive for generations. And here's the magnificent truth. The one who dwells within you is infinitely greater than any force that comes against you. The Spirit of the living God resides in you. The same power that defeated death itself operates through you. You aren't just fighting for victory. You're fighting from victory that was secured before time began. The warfare you're experiencing is confirmation of your calling. The resistance you're feeling is validation of your value. The opposition you're facing is evidence of your anointing. So stand firm in this truth. When the enemy comes at you with everything he has, it's because he sees what God is doing in you and it terrifies him. So how do you walk in this newfound freedom? How do you manifest the God-given dreams now burning in your heart? Let me give you 5 practical, actionable steps. First, renew your mind daily. Your transformation hinges on this discipline. Every morning, reject old programming and install new truth. Don't just read about renewal, practice it actively. Create declarations based on heavenly truth. I am chosen. I am called. I am qualified by His blood, not by my credentials. I am equipped for every good work. I am changing history in Jesus' name. Speak these truths until they override the old narratives. Your mind is a battlefield. Win it back territory by territory. Second, guard your spiritual gates. Your eyes, ears, and thoughts are entry points to your spirit. What enters eventually manifests. Audit your inputs ruthlessly. Which voices dominate your attention? What images fill your visual space? Which thoughts occupy your mental energy? Be intentional. Unfollow accounts that reinforce old limitations. Turn off media that seeds fear. Distance yourself from voices that contradict your calling. Above everything else, protect your heart. It's the wellspring of your purpose. Third, Take consistent, bold action. Faith without action remains theoretical. God reveals the vision, but you must take the steps. Abraham left comfort for promise. Moses confronted Pharaoh despite fear. David ran toward his giant, not away from it. What step has God been prompting that fear has prevented? That business you need to launch. That ministry you need to start. That relationship you need to repair. That toxic situation you need to exit. Do it afraid. Do it imperfectly. But do it consistently until breakthrough comes. Fourth, build your freedom tribe. You cannot fulfill your new assignment with old associations. Some relationships were only meant for a season, and that season has ended. Now you need people who see what God sees in you, who speak life over your future, who celebrate your growth rather than resent it. Connection is more than comfort. It's strategic. Find your tribe of fellow freedom walkers. Join hands with other ceiling breakers. Link arms with vision carriers. Your assignment includes your associations. Drop a love emoji in the comments if you need divine connections for your next season. Fifth, embrace wilderness preparation. Here's the truth many teachers avoid. Between awakening and manifestation lies wilderness. Between revelation and realization stretches preparation. Between prophecy and fulfillment stands development. Don't resist these seasons. They aren't punishments. They're essential formation periods where your character catches up to your calling. In the wilderness, your roots grow deep, your motives purify, your dependence shifts from systems to the Father. The wilderness feels like abandonment, but functions as advancement. Worship while you wait. Develop while you endure. Trust while you transform. These 5 practices aren't suggestions. They're requirements for sustained freedom. They convert momentary inspiration into permanent transformation. Let me prophetically paint the portrait of what awaits beyond this transition. I see you walking in unprecedented authority. Not arrogance, authority. The kind that speaks to mountains and watches them move. The kind that commands circumstances rather than conforming to them. The kind that transforms atmospheres simply by entering rooms. I see you operating in divine clarity. The confusion that once clouded your decisions dissolves in the light of purpose. You recognize open doors instantly. You discern false opportunities effortlessly. You move with precision that makes others wonder at your confidence. I see you building legacy beyond your lifetime. The freedom you're fighting for isn't just for you. It's for generations yet unborn who will walk further because you broke the path. Your courage today creates inheritance tomorrow. Your obedience now establishes blessing later. I see you enjoying supernatural provision. Not just enough, abundance. Resources that defied logical explanation. Connections that couldn't be humanly orchestrated. Opportunities that arrive at perfect moments. Favor that makes others ask, how did this happen for you? I see you walking in uncommon peace despite circumstances that would destroy others. The storms still come, but they no longer determine your stability. Your anchor holds in promises that transcend temporary conditions. I see you loving with extraordinary capacity. Your healed heart becomes a healing force. Your restored soul restores others. The freedom you fought for becomes freedom you facilitate for many. This isn't wishful thinking. It's prophetic declaration over your life. God is making unprecedented pathways where obstacles once stood. He's creating streams of provision in what was once barren wasteland. He's establishing new realities that defy your previous experiences. This is your appointed season. This is your divine moment. This is your Kairos time of stepping into everything prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Chosen one, you didn't outgrow the system accidentally. You outgrew it because God is calling you higher. You outgrow it because your assignment demands your liberation. You outgrow it because the next generation needs to witness what freedom actually looks like. Yes, the journey feels uncomfortable. Yes, you'll be misunderstood by many. Yes, moments of loneliness will visit you. But these are merely the labor pains bringing forth your true identity. There will be joy beyond description. There will be peace that transcends understanding. There will be fulfillment that no worldly achievement could ever provide. There will be impact that continues long after your time on earth concludes. The system they used to control you lies shattered at your feet, and you're not glancing backward. You're not retreating into familiar limitation. You're pressing forward toward the magnificent calling that awaits your yes. This is your divine moment. This is your appointed season. This is your opportunity to step boldly into everything the Father prepared specifically for you. Stand unshakable in your freedom. Walk confidently in your purpose. Live authentically in your calling. The chosen ones are rising across the earth, and you're among them. If this message awakens something within you, declare your liberation by commenting, "I'm free," below. Share this with someone still struggling in their own prison. Subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of believers who refuse to settle for anything less than God's highest purpose. Let's connect in the comments. I want to hear your breakthrough story. I want to celebrate your journey from captivity to calling. Until next time, fix your focus on Jesus, anchor your heart in truth, and move steadily toward your destiny. You've outgrown their system. Now, go transform your world.